We don't have anything to report out from closed session. This meeting is required for live streaming and archiving in the district YouTube channel. The pledge. Stephanie Rice, would you like to lead us in the pledge? Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, we're good. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Rice.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Aye. And we have our summer highlights tonight. So I'd like to recognize Erica Dudley, Director of Early and Expanded Learning, and Steve Phillips. Is everybody coming up at once, or are they all separate? Steve Phillips, welcome up to the podium. Christina Moore for SESY.
I'll go first. Good evening, Board President Grubbs and members of the board. As you know, I'm Erica Dudley, Director of Early Education and Expanded Learning, and I'm excited to share summer highlights with you all. This summer has been a lot of fun. We had all of our preschool and expanded learning programs open, and our preschool sites took full advantage of the nice, cool summer we had this year. So they enjoyed playing inside, outside, with lots of fun themes like camping and fishing, exploring nature, things like that. And then our expanded learning programs in the month of June had kicked off with the Magician Assembly there on the left. And then they also had tutoring from some of our BUSD certificated staff. They participated in some engaging sessions with our community partners, which were dance, STEAM, cooking, and athletics. And then the real highlight was on the far right there, that last picture was our family day, where we invited families to come out, and there was performances by all of the kids, TK to 6. They showed off their dancing skills. They danced through the decades, so it was really, really cute. They worked really hard. They also served dishes that they had prepared in the cooking class. They showed off their science projects, and also taught them some games that they had played in the athletics group. And then in July, we went all over. We had field trips to the Lawrence Hall of Science, where they were building structures and trying to make them fall down with this earthquake machine, building rockets and making them fly. They had the axolotls there, which I thought was amazing. And then the Bohart Museum in Davis, they got to learn about bugs and see their butterfly collection. And then we hiked around Tilden Park and explored their museum and their farms. And then we ended our field trips with the River Cats game, where they got to meet the players. Yeah, they got to hear from the players, ask questions. They all got autographs on something they had. And they just enjoyed the game. They got to walk the field, which was really cool too, and see themselves on the Jumbotron. And then we had a community barbecue at the community park there, right next to Matthew Turner. And I want to give a special thanks to Matthew Turner for hosting us, and our food and nutrition department for feeding us all summer, and our maintenance crew for just helping us wherever we were. The students had a lot of fun. They learned, they explored, they were connecting, with one another from different sites. So it was really cool, and we were proud of all of the staff and helping them make those memories. So that's it. Thank you.
Tough act to follow, to be sure. Good evening. I'm really pleased to open this presentation about our extended school year program by introducing, although we all know her, Christina Moore. She serves specifically as our ESY principal this year. She's, of course, our long-standing principal for Robert Semple. And I think you'll see through the slides what magic she brought to our program this year. Christine is a strong advocate for both staff and students. She provided the kind of inspirational leadership that brings out the very best in everyone. Under her guidance, this year's ESY program not only addressed learning regression, but it also really enriched our students' experiences through music, art, STEAM, the library, and Brickspace. Her commitment to excellence and care for our school community is felt in every respect of the program. Christina will be sharing her own ESY experience, as well as the experiences of others featured in this presentation.
Thanks, Steve. I'll hand this off to you if that's okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us and giving us this opportunity to talk about ESY, which was by far one of the most joyous experiences, for sure. This year, as Steve mentioned, we did have these, we really took the enrichment opportunity to the nth degree, I thought. We built a community. We had 5 different classes there, not including the county class. We greeted families as a whole staff every day in the morning at arrival so we could check in and take a temperature and just build community right out there in front of school. Then we went on our way into the classrooms where the learning was kept alive and extended. But we, like I had mentioned, we did really emphasize the enrichment piece. So as Steve mentioned, those particular pieces, they were working with Legos, they were painting, they were learning about artists. Mr. Gabe came in and did music through real physical movements and parachuting. We were able to bring in Cheryl Lau with STEAM, and they got to experience all different aspects of that. And then we brought in the Benicia Public Library, bridging that community with our community partners, and that was really fun. So every week they had multiple enrichment opportunities. And then we were able to bring in Olga, the service dog, who came and visited our campus and practiced decompressing type techniques and showed us if we were dysregulated, what the dog might be able to do for them, lay across their lap or put their paw wherever your comfort zone was. And I do want to give a shout out to Chris and Ann, who do work with our schools, who said if at any point, really throughout any part of the year, your students need us, just call. We'll come immediately to any classroom to support a student. So I do want to give a shout out to them for all of the support they offer our schools. But I just wanted to end with really highlighting how capable and how loving our staff was, and that was transcended into our students who showed us, how capable they are. That picture right there is students around the 8 years old that are running the copy machine independently, making their own copies and sharing them with classmates. So they walked out of there with a lot of education, including some life skills. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
And then just adding to it, it's really nice to share what our experience is, but it's also nice to share the experiences of our staff through the process. So you do have, I believe, oh, I already got to. Oh my gosh, thank you. Make it so much easier. Okay. And I'll turn on this one. Sorry, a little bit of an eye thing. Yeah, so there is none other than our famous Olga doing her thing. And this talks a little bit, again, about what Olga shared and the opportunities. It's interesting, too, as you look at this one picture. It's actually, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm moving like a teacher, aren't I? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's really nice because it's a great example, as you see Olga in that third picture on the right, where she's not just laying in a lap, she's really providing a soothing opportunity and a calming experience, and we're able to read into that and determine our students' relaxation, if you will, in that moment. Please move to the next slide. Thank you. All right. So one of our amazing paraprofessionals, Deborah Weaver, shared her experience, and specifically she said, I thoroughly enjoyed ESY this year. Lindsay Hussing was the teacher. I am going to take this off. Apologies. There we go. Lindsay Hussing was the teacher on my team, and she was amazing. We had the students working on big art projects together. It was wonderful to see them working together. I saw turn-taking, sharing, incredible cooperation. It was awesome. Can't wait to do it again. And keep in mind, too, that we're thinking about students who may engage in co-play, and yet in this case, we have full collaboration, cooperation, working together. It makes such a different experience. Right? Please. All right? And then Ms. Zarana, who is one of our teachers in our RISE class, specifically to our preschool students and also our transitional kindergarten students. For my students, ESY was a wonderful opportunity to explore a new space and work with some new adults. The addition of the music class once a week was fabulous for my students. They were all so engaged and participated with delight. 2 of my students had the opportunity to interact in the classroom in the most delightful way that was a first for them during ESY. A student wanted to use the same fidget as another student. Trust me, this can be a challenge, right? Oh my, this is, right at the outset, we're concerned. And who was not at the table with the fidget, using it in their favorite way. My student got the same kind of fidget, went to sit with the other student and imitated what they were doing, and the other child noticed, smiled, and showed how to do it. They sat together at the lunch table. They were making each other laugh and really looking at each other and connecting with enjoyment. Another part of what makes ESY great is the opportunity to collaborate with new and different teams. That really is a theme that you'll see through each of these, is the opportunity to really expand on our students' skills, to give them a really beautiful experience, right? To not only maintain skills, develop new ones, but also to have the STEAM activities, the other activities to really build those relationships and that collaboration. All right? And actually, if I may, there are additional quotes in the packet. Would you mind going forward just a little bit? Yeah. So Socorro is a teacher who joined us from a school district in Central California. She sought us out. She wanted Benicia. She communicated with me multiple times via email and via phone call, and she said, I must be here to teach. And she said when she first arrived, the community feeling she got, the vibe, made her want to be in Benicia. She's looking for a job with us in the future. She wants to come back. And so just some of her quote, from the moment I arrived, I felt the warmth and heart of this community when I walked up the steps of the district office. The enthusiasm and team spirit over kicking off ESY was something I had never seen before. Working with the staff and families has been wonderful. Working with Christina Moore was a true privilege, and her leadership, compassion, and dedication inspired me daily. The type of family, community, and unity I've seen in Benicia has been one I've only experienced in Mexico and the Dominican Republic. Families in school literally are one big family. You don't see that anymore in our country. And I feel each child deserves a Benicia and a Miss Moore. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Yeah, and then Miss Adams, we had a great time at ESY. I think I enjoyed the daily writing activities. We did most, pardon me, students would create slides for their writing and had an opportunity to present to their peers. They loved presenting and sharing what they learned. That was my favorite thing, seeing them build their confidence in their writing and presenting. It was so much fun to see. And this, in fact, is a couple of our students who worked diligently on those presentations. And think about all the skills you've got to work on. You're collaborating, you are researching, you are developing what is your view and your vision of the work that you want to share, and then there you are sharing it, bearing your soul to your classmates and to your school, and you're doing that with confidence, with finesse. We have great students in Benicia. This was a wonderful program, and that's a big part of the reason why. Thank you so much for your time.
Now we come to reports, so Janice Adams is up.
Right. Well, good evening, President Grubbs, trustees, members, staff, and members of the public. It's so nice to be here. I was saying in closed session, this is my first school board meeting in 10 years. So it's kind of fun to be back. And I hope it's like riding a bike, remember how to do it. I want to tell you that the first day of school went beautifully. Just beautifully. Our schools were filled with eager, excited students. I want to compliment all our school sites for a wonderful opening. Every school looked beautiful. They were all attractive, welcoming, and inviting. Staff at every site were out to welcome students, help guide parents and children to their classrooms. There were smiling faces throughout the district. I want to thank our principals, teachers, and classified staff for their incredible hard work getting the schools opened. We did have a few first day issues related to our new transportation system, and some students and drivers had difficulty connecting. As a result, we made some adjustments to our transfer spots. Mr. Romero and his crew worked with site principals to address issues. They painted a curb red and cones were added to address the problem of other parents parking in spots designated to our drivers. The new system has caused some anxiety for our parents, but overall, it is working well, and Mr. Phillips is working closely with families to address any individual concerns. We have also been working closely with the City of Benicia while construction of the new pedestrian bridge in front of Mary Farmer is underway. We have additional staff at strategic locations to ensure student safety. Thank you to the district office staff who have all been out there this week, crossing guards with their stop signs. I did it today. Everybody up here has done it. Everybody here has done a turn. I really want to compliment Mrs. Fleming for her care and thoughtfulness in addressing safety and traffic concerns. She's gone above and beyond to ensure student safety. Her attention to detail and her proactive approach has resulted in things working smoothly. You would not know there was a problem when you go there, and it took a lot of work on her part, working with Roxanne Egan, working with the city. It's gone so much better than I feared. I have to tell you, I was anticipating some problems there, but it's been great. Some other news is we had more transitional kindergartners than we anticipated. We are so very pleased that so many parents are entrusting their little ones with us. And I am so pleased that California is put in place that we are now educating every 4-year-old. In fact, some of our little munchkins are not 4 yet. They don't have to turn 4 till September 1st. So we have little 3-year-olds coming to our TK classrooms. It's really quite a remarkable experiment in education to add a whole additional year. And I feel proud that Benicia parents are entrusting us with their students. Many districts are not getting that enrollment. They're keeping them in preschools, they're keeping them at home, they're not sure that they're ready. But in Benicia, people feel confident, and they should, because if you ever need to have some joy in your day, you ought to go visit a transitional kindergarten classroom or one of our kindergarten classrooms. It's quite unbelievable how engaged they are and how excited they are about learning. As you know, did I already say this? As a result of our kindergarten enrollments, we added an additional classroom. I think Ms. Moore found out on Friday that she was going to open another room, and the Wonder Woman that she is, and with the help of other Semple teachers and district office staff, the room was ready to go. Although I want to make sure that you understand, while we have more kindergartens than we anticipated, we still have less classes than last year. So we still have an enrollment issue, but more showed up than we had feared, and we're so excited about that. While students arrived on Tuesday, our entire staff started last Thursday and came together on August 7th for a district-wide professional development day. After welcoming and introducing all of our new staff members, a team of presenters focused on how we will connect the work we're currently doing with the foundation of professional learning communities. The focus of the day was on the importance of working together in collaborative high-functioning teams. Staff worked in grade-level teams, departments, job-alike teams to focus on essential standards. Classified staff and departments all received valuable professional development. Feedback from the anonymous survey at the end of the day was so positive. 89% of the respondents felt satisfied or highly satisfied. I want to congratulate the district office staff for a job well done in the Ed Services Department. Thank you so much. It was a great day. There's so much more to tell you, but I mean, there's only so much time. It's been 2 months since your last board meeting. Thank you so much. Any questions from the board?
No, thank you. Thank you for everything you've been doing. So we come to board reports, and I'm going to start. On behalf of the board, I am pleased to announce that we have a finalist in our superintendent search. Our candidate, Chris Calabrese, has a high school teaching experience, middle school principal experience, and elementary principal experience, as well as classroom experience and elementary experience. So the board used all the feedback that we gathered through surveys and talking to stakeholders to carefully consider the qualities that are most important for our district. Next week, 2 of us will be going to Brentwood and talking to staff there for a validation visit. If everything goes as well, and we feel that it will, we will finalize our choice and present him at our September 4th meeting. So we're very excited. It's been a pretty intensive superintendent search because of the time frame. So I want to thank everybody for their patience and their encouragement. So thank you so much. Any other board reports?
I have a brief one. Principal Kleinschmidt talked about a number of scouts in Benicia who received their Eagle Awards at graduation, and I was fortunate enough to attend one of the Board of Reviews for the Eagles for Dana Miller, who's a scout in Troop 9 in Benicia. And that panel decides if the scout has met the requirements for Eagle, and Dana passed with flying colors. So I was very thankful to be able to participate in that. It's great to see our students out in the community doing work. Dana led a group, her troop 9, in painting the senior center. And that's entirely scout-led. She had to plan it, and she had to execute it, which I think was the trickier of the two things, getting people to listen to her. So congratulations, Dana. And I also just want to say a thank you to Superintendent Adams and Dr. Beatson, Ms. Barrington, Dr. Jennings, and Mr. Phillips. I know that we had a tragedy this summer involving one of our students, and I have connections, not to that family directly, but friends of the family, and I understand that you were there on site helping and providing support. And I just want to thank you, and if I'm missing anybody who went, thank you. It's just your support of our students is what makes Benicia so great. So.
I just have two. I just wanted to publicly welcome everybody back to school for our students, our staff, and our teachers. And I also wanted to thank the 391 people who went on our survey and provided some input. It was really helpful. So thank you for all the input.
Moving on, we come to item number 10, comments from members of the public. All functions of the board meeting, including public comments, will take place in person. Members of the public may address the board at a regular meeting on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Speaker cards are available at the entrance table. Please note the item you wish to speak to and submit a card to the board secretary. The board president will call all the open session general comments during the public comment item. Comments on items on the agenda will be called for that specific item. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker of the board, or the board may limit the total time to 20 minutes per item, with the timer displayed on the monitors. And this part is important. By law, no action may be taken on any item raised during the public comment periods, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on a future agenda of the governing board. So even though we may want to respond, by law we are not allowed to. So please be reminded to keep your comments respectful, as students may be watching the board meeting. Thank you. And we have one comment, but it's for, I will call you at, when we get to 12B. Is that, okay. So, we have we're going to item 11, approval of the consent calendar. Background information on these items is provided to the board prior to the meeting. A common motion takes action without discussion on roll call votes unless discussion of items is requested by the board members. So, minutes of the meeting for June 17th, July 10th, and August 1st. Sorry.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as written.
I did list them. July 17th, July 10th, and August 1st.
Yeah, why she listen? I move that we approve the consent calendar as written. We just need a second.
I second.
Thank you.
So
Okay, so,
this is a roll call
oh,
vote. So President Grubbs,
yes.
Trustee Hirsch,
Yes.
Trustee Seda, Trustee Maselli,
Yes.
and Trustee Manasi. Yes. Thank you. And then we also have a resolution under this that needs a separate roll call vote with the same motions. So bear with me, I want to do that one.
That's E.
Okay, President Grubbs. This is for E, approval of resolution 252601.
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Seda? Yes. Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Manasi? Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to really acknowledge some really astonishing gifts from author Jay Dahlberg for our district early reading initiatives. And he has donated in the amount of $10,000 towards our early reading initiatives. And we want to sincerely thank you for such a generous donation. Thank you so much. Okay. We come to item 12, presentation and communication informational items. Mrs. Adams, you are up.
So the Board Policy Committee, with myself, Ms. Grubbs, and Ms.
Manasi.
I can't get it right.
That's all right.
I said it wrong without a mic, so I have another chance. The Board Policy Committee reviewed the June 2025 quarterly California School Board Association Policy Update Packet, along with a few others, additional policies on August 4th. The linked policy guide provides details on all the proposed policy changes. The recommended policy revisions incorporating CSBA's guidance and minor edits specific to Benicia Unified School District are now being introduced for an initial review. These revised policies will be presented for adoption as an action item at the September 4th, 2025 regular governing board meeting.
I have a little bit of feedback, if that's.
Yeah.
Okay. I would just like to say for the June ones, I think 0411, artificial intelligence, I think we should sort of think through that policy and then talk it through at a parent workshop. I think that there's a lot of families and teachers and students who are understanding that and trying to understand how that works into their studies, and also how parents can help guide that and make sure that we're all speaking in the same language. And then I would also like to talk through 0450, Comprehensive Safety Plan. That's okay. And I would like to request that that be more of a thorough policy. I think that we need to just really ensure that what we have in our policies are thorough and that we are making sure that we can reflect back to what is going to be put into action if ever needed, and that we can refer back to a strong, thorough policy.
So
And then-
are you saying that you want to pull those two items?
I would like to pull 0450.
As far as 0411, that's excellent staff direction, and we will take that, we will work on that as far as the AI parent meeting and staff. I know staff is already working on that, but the suggestion is taken, so thank you.
Yeah. I feel okay with that policy, but of course, if anybody else has any other ideas. But I think from the June, the 0450 should be pulled for,
We have a staff.
Can I just ask a clarifying
yeah,
question?
yeah.
On the safety plan policy? So when you say you want it more thorough, can you give me an example of what you're thinking about? Because we keep our safety plans, we don't publicize them. So you're not talking about putting the detail in. I just want to
Absolutely
know.
not. No. I think it would be really great to, talk through, the district office leads conversations, the sites, XYZ, giving a little bit more direction in terms of who holds that ultimate responsibility of our safety plans. How are we making sure that we are initiating them, reviewing them? Perhaps we review every summer. Just thinking, I'm not saying that as a directive to say putting in review, but really thinking through this policy of a safety plan and how do we ensure that we're really looking at the broader, I know we have it in our minds and probably we know what we're doing, but to put it in policy, I think would be good for us.
So so currently this policy requires that by March 1st, the board approves the safety plans. And I think ours were approved last February. So they're done, they do come to the board.
Yeah, we do approve them, and I know a lot of work has been done regarding those safety plans, a lot of legwork.
That's great. That's what I think should be put in the policy, that every year, so just adding that verbiage, so every year the safety plans get looked, that's not in the policy right now.
Yes, it's required that they're approved by March 1st.
You're saying by law, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, did I miss that on the policy?
It's after the red strikeout, after
Okay.
option 2. And I think this is a great point. I know that the safety plans were updated probably in the last 4 years or so, like heavily.
We update
By
them
Sean.
every year.
Every
Yeah.
March.
So that's when we bring them back new. Every
Right.
year, Dr. Ovitt brings them, usually in February, because they have to be done by March 1st, I believe. And he works with, that's one of the requirements of a school site council, is to review and update the safety plans. And we're always looking at what, any new legislation, any new change. One of the things we're going to do this year as well is meet with, we've put an invitation out to our police chief and our fire chief to sit down and really walk through them to make sure that we are all in alignment with the terminology, the vocabulary that we're using. So those are the ways they are developed, and then they're gone through with the school site councils and then the school staff as well. And then there's always a schedule that Dr. Ovick puts out to sites around when those plans, he's got a whole spreadsheet of what the dates are, when the different drills are going to happen, and he goes and observes those, and they work on feedback. So I don't know if there's an administrative regulation to this. I'll have to go look and see, because that's, if there was more detail, oftentimes that's in the AR versus the BP, but I'm still maybe a little unclear about what additional information we're looking for.
I think, and I'm fine to talk about it if other people have different opinions, that just exactly what you said, school site councils would review it. The Benicia Police Department is involved with it. The specifics of what we're already doing.
Developmental process.
Yes. And that, I don't know, district office leads the way, or, whatever it is, just the plan. Not the plans, specific plan, but how do we develop?
Okay, thank you very much.
And then just to go back to the March, I would like to just check up on the alcohol and other drugs policy and our mobile communications policy, if there were any updates to those.
These are updated in March, and we have voted on them.
Well, in the last meeting, I asked to pull those two and to rewrite those. So were they?
Sorry, I just got back to my page. I had accidentally deleted out of it. We haven't done any updates to them since March, but we have some plans for that. We have some principals meetings coming up to review their mobile device management. They do have plans, and that was written in the board policy that was back in March. So the high school and middle school specifically, and they operate a little bit differently based on developmental, and that was working really well last year. So we're reviewing that at an upcoming site principals meeting. And then the alcohol, tobacco, and other drug policy. We've been doing in Ed Services some research on what curriculum and what's out there. The Department of Education has a lot of free lessons online, and so we're going to be looking through those and working with our site principals again to determine where those lessons would take place at their sites.
I would just encourage you to think a little bit about elementary school and phones. I know that there's especially in the upper grades, a lot of students have phones, and I'm not against them, but I just think that it would be worth our time just to broadly think about that, not to
Just to,
exclude them.
can I just say that at the elementary schools, yes, they do have phones, but their phones have to stay in their backpacks.
So I think that should be stated, or that should be acknowledged then. Like, if we have a plan for our middle school, our high school,
It's probably in the handbooks.
probably.
Thank you
Moving
very
on.
much.
Okay, so, board measure C, and so item 12B, we have Brianne Marshall. If you'd like to come to the podium.
Good evening. I sent an email earlier, so thank you, board members, for reading that. And I know my time's limited, so I'm going to jump right into some questions I have just regarding the Measure C update. Please receive, I'm just going to go bullet point. Please receive them as to promote meaningful collaboration. Like, this isn't accusations, this is no finger pointing, this is genuine questions of curiosity that I had when I was reading through. So, general questions. What is the process for selecting architects and contractors? Why is the same architecture firm being used for nearly all BUSD projects? Is there an on-call contract in place, or is each project going through an RFP process? For the BMS kitchen, was an RFP issued? What is the driving cost of over $1 million for enclosing what appears to be around 600 square feet of a roofed walkway? At an apparent cost exceeding $2,000 a square foot, what specific factors are contributing to this budget? Why is there no cost estimator providing benchmark analyses during schematic design and construction document phases? How will costs be monitored and controlled as the design develops? Given the defined scope, why are subcontractors estimating hourly fees instead of proposing a fixed fee? For the Henderson fence, what is the budget on this fence? How is the need for this fence determined, and were other higher priority projects considered? What factors led to its prioritization for this bond spending? Have lower cost measures been explored, such as a positive and consistent staff presence out in front of the school and student safety patrols? Other campuses seem to have success with these methods. It seems there's an opportunity to promote community instead of building fences and achieve increased student safety. Many campus improvements appear to be approached case by case instead of zooming out and holistically developing a strategy for the district. Bond spending decisions have long-term impact and should be based on clear criteria, transparent processes, and meaningful community engagement. Whew, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Roxanne, maybe you can touch base with Ms. Marshall later on to answer some of her questions at some point, not tonight, but thank you. Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Measure C bond update. Roxanne Egan, thank you. Welcome in.
Thank you.
You're up here for a while.
This first item is kind of multifaceted, so I'm going to share with you some updates on our bond project work, and then there's also information included in your packets from our most recent CBOC meeting. I'm going to start with some brief photos of the bond project work, and then I'll follow up with a conversation for the Joe Henderson fencing graphics, and wrap up this item with any questions or additional discussion. So let's start out with the photos. This is just sharing out the Joe Henderson TK classroom and playground that is occupied now. So little celebration for our new kids that have came to the site. Go ahead and go to the next one, please. This is the inside of the classroom. And then this next one here is a graphic of the fencing. And so this is brought to you with the intent of having a conversation and some ideas. I know that there's been a lot of discussion around that, and there's a temporary fence up there right now. So First of all, I'm going to walk through the graphics of what you're looking at, and go through the elements, and then after that, we can talk about alternate solutions and next steps for what you'd like. So this graphic right here shows the dotted line. Let's see if I can do this. The dotted line that goes from the edge and then goes in would be the location of the fence in the site plan. At each corner, it is closer to the sidewalk, and it steps back, so it gives you a forced perspective towards the monument for the site sign. It would allow, safety was the driving factor from what we've had. The design uses metal panels. The elements in them are intended to represent a graphic that likens to the tree leaves that are nearby. And then you've got white plinths in it that would be painted the same color as the school to break up the fencing a little bit, and then a new marquee. So this is just an idea right now. If the district is, if the board, excuse me, not the district, is interested, we can pursue it. We could also go with other options that could include no fence or, whatever you would like. And then we also could do a mock-up if you'd like to. And the mock-up would be starting out with just a black fence that mimics this shape. Maintenance could install it. Cost of those materials would be $5,000 to $7,000. And then if it was like, oh, we like this and we want to implement it in this full graphic, we could proceed with that. The mock-up fencing could be used at other sites, so it wouldn't be a waste. It's just the basic element of just black is a little less for a front of school and maybe better utilized in other locations on campus. But for the front of school, mock-up could give you a graphic of what that looks like. We did meet with the site administrators and review this, and they were excited about it. So I wanted to share with the board and see how you feel and how you would like us to proceed.
I was just going to ask about the safety aspect. Have you gotten any complaints or, I'm going to date myself, but I know that school was built, 30-something 40 years ago, because I went there as the first third grade class. And we've never had a fence there. So I'm just wondering if there were was there anything that happened to spur the need for the fence?
All right, if I address that one, and maybe Ms. Beats can help, as Dr. Beats. And the staff was continually concerned about safety of children. The main issue is that parents drop their students off on Hastings. They pull up to the curb. The kids get out of the car. They run across the lawn through the 2 lanes of traffic. They had multiple reminders to students. All the teachers are out there, classified staff, the principal. They're very, very concerned about the safety. I can tell you 10 years ago, we had the same conversation. So this is not a new issue. The principal suggested, after numerous attempts, of course, to just talk to the children, reward children that are doing the correct thing, all the things that we typically do. There was just fear that it was getting to be too dangerous. I'm going to have to say this in public. Some parents are not very cooperative when they're coming to school and dropping off in the morning. Teachers have been sworn at and asked, because they're asking them to do the right thing. But most important, the most important priority is always going to be student safety. That's going to come number one. And this was a suggestion from the principal that this would stop students from coming across the lawn through the 2 lanes of traffic. It is not an attractive solution. It was done, and it did solve the issue. But everyone acknowledges that it's not a permanent solution. It's a temporary one. So we're going to propose this. It's certainly a board discussion, but it really came from a safety factor from multiple staff members of sharing their concerns with the principal.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying. I just wanted to get more information. Safety, absolutely, is number one. Thank you.
So I want to first begin to say, of course, safety is number one. I am against this. I think I go to that school every day, and I have been for years. I do not believe that building a fence, building a wall is what's going to stop any parents from doing anything or any kids from doing anything. There, I think we need to do a safety, like a school survey, safety survey. The traffic around that school is terrible. We need to have friendly, engaged, positive adults that are at that pickup line or at the drop-off line, engaging with cars, engaging with people. Putting a fence up is only going to make it worse. There's so many other things that we can think about school safety. For instance, I'm glad we have the buzzer at the front door. Do we consider using, $5,000 to $7,000 to help our staff be able to buzz people in the morning? Do we think about like our students coming back and being safety patrols? I do not think that this is a good use of our taxpayer dollars.
I'd like to say something. I think that since this has been a problem, at least for 10 years, and you guys have discussed it before, that it's a step, yeah, I agree, it's expensive, but if those pieces could be used elsewhere, then we're not really losing money necessarily. And traffic around schools, particularly that school, is tough because there's not a lot of space. I dealt with my kids where they went. Traffic around schools is always an issue, right? And there's no real way around that. Exactly. So if we're going to stop kids from crossing in the wrong place and going through in the wrong place, I don't know. I think I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I don't have a problem. Student safety is paramount, and I hear what you're saying, but I politely disagree with what you're saying.
That's fine. I will say that, once again, building a fence isn't going to stop people. And for us to say we're going to build a fence because adults are doing something, don't we need to confront the adults?
There are a couple other things that first of all, I'm in favor of the fence, and I think it's beautiful, and it adds to the property. However, a fence that the staff proposed, that you've brought to us, is a barrier. And the problem is that if you don't have a fence there, people are walking into 2 lanes of traffic. Right. Now, let's have faith. Okay, it's okay if you disagree, Yenny, but I get to have my chance. Okay, so what I'd like to say is that, and I lost my train of thought. No matter how dedicated staff is, and I'm someone who has worked at elementary schools for a long time, no matter how dedicated staff is, they actually put themselves at a little bit of risk when asking an adult to please go go around the sidewalk. I feel that it's important to have a fence like this. I believe that staff knows what they're talking about. I believe that the staff at Joe Henderson knows what they're talking about. They've been there for years, and I'm in favor of the fence. I think it's pretty. I like it. I think the fence that they put up in order to help monitor that foot traffic can't go soon enough, But I'm in favor of it. Is there any more discussion?
Yes, I would like to say that I would like to see the comments from our staff, and I would like to see how many staff people are actually saying that they would like a fence on Joe Henderson. We have a principal who's been there for a year, and she has not participated in many years for this. So I would like to see the data.
Can we do that as a board? Ask for comments? But anyway, this is an action item, so we're going to take action on it tonight.
It's just a presentation.
Not an action item.
Sorry, okay, got it.
Can I ask a couple questions? First of all, I might have missed it. Did you give us a cost on the fence?
I haven't gotten a cost yet. It's just
Okay.
a starting conversation. If you're interested, I can get
My
one.
second question is, if we have a fence there, because kids are coming across the grass, there's 2 lanes, there's 2 driveways, right? Because the cars come in and around.
Yeah.
Have we looked into the risk of, say I'm gonna drop my kid off in front of the Joe Henderson sign, my kid is just gonna go boom across where people are trying to drive in and through?
Those are, well, they have crosswalks there, so it's a limited point of where they're crossing instead of through the entire drive.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I think what'll happen is that when we put the fence up, kids are gonna go on either side across those driveway areas. I know there's a sidewalk there, right? That continues around. Yeah, so they'll go across the driveway areas and then they'll continue around. So at those driveway areas, that's kind of like at Turner where you park in the staff lot and then you have to walk across the street when there's cars turning. I think I'm gonna ask, let's see what safety protocols we can have in those areas, because I really think that we're just gonna be, diverting traffic around. And then my other comment is, I know we're going to have some modification of that Henderson staff lot as part of the work. So I'd like to, and I don't know how, are there any other modifications that we might be considering as part of that renovation that we could kind of solve?
Can you remind us of the staff parking lot modification?
Yeah, we're in design. Schematics have been provided. I can bring them and share them. Really the reason this was pulled out is because of to be prioritized before all of the whole thing. So there is conversations about that, and I can share that and how they work together, but to make this separate and sooner is really because of the safety questions. And I think the part about what does the pedestrian traffic look like, if you look at what they're doing up there right now, it would be similar, because they do have that temp fence up. Yeah, and maybe some of that is I'm not on the site staffing side, you know what I mean, but maybe it's extra crossing guards in the mornings on both sides of those, because they have to go through there and not across the traffic lanes. But I would look to Dr. Beatson and others for that. Yeah.
Certainly, I did speak to Ms. Bellanti today, and she said it's so much better this year because they aren't having that issue. The fence is there, and it's stopping children from running across. Is there an issue that, yes, they do have to cross the driveway to get to the other side, but that is the direction they need to go. So there are adults there always making sure that the students are safe. That's an adult crossing. This is not a finalized thing. This is a proposal and a presentation tonight. This is not it. We're not voting on this, and we're sharing.
You're right.
We're sharing.
There's one thing to be important. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I wanted to ask a question, Yanni. You also mentioned in your description of why you didn't want it, that there should be friendly people at these locations to guide the kids or the cars or what have you. So I'm wondering, have you run into issues with people that are there doing those jobs? You have.
So there's not always adults that are there. There's sometimes is one adult in the traffic circle. I have pictures of people who are just reading a piece of paper, standing out there. So my encouragement is for us to really take a step back and think through what is really occurring on that site. And that's why I would like to hear what the staff is really saying, or is this coming from one person?
So you're saying that where we expect that that staff is out there helping kids cross those areas, and I saw someone shaking their head, and I'm hearing you say nobody's doing traffic duty, or
There sometimes is only one person doing traffic duty.
and there should be two.
There should probably be 5.
Well, that's probably probably true at all school sites. It's not always feasible, but, you know, that's a problem, and that's something that staff can take care of and look into. because-
Absolutely, we'll definitely make sure that's a priority to talk about the number of adults out front, for sure.
And not being on phones or reading papers. Yes.
Yeah, and there's, you know, this morning, there was no crossing guard at Solano and Hastings, which is a very busy intersection. And so all of that adds to the combustion, as Sherry said, getting your kid to school on time. You know, there's a lot of messages out that you have to be at school 7:55, and, you know, there's a lot of anxiety from, you know, our community that's trying to get there. And I'm not saying that it's okay for them to cross through or cut traffic or any of that sort of stuff, but I think that I don't think this is gonna solve the problem. And for us to put a fence to say that this is gonna help with our school safety and our students' safety, I think we're gonna be right back here in 10 years. It's gonna be sooner than that, but I think that the conversation will continue. This is not the answer.
Is there any other discussion?
Ms. Egan might.
Oh,
The
yes,
only,
no, she's-
on next steps, it's really up to the board. If you guys want to do research and we'll return with the topic, I'll just wait for some direction and what you'd like me to do.
Since it's not an action item.
You know.
um,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd like more information on how might this plan work with the other plans that are scheduled for Henderson, with the construction of the teacher lot. And then I'd like more information about how it's going now with the current orange fence up there, with the kids crossing on either side. I think for me, like, we need to make sure the kids are crossing safely. I just want to make sure we do it in a way that solves the problem and doesn't disrupt additional plans. I just want to make sure we think it out really carefully.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is that,
We come to,
oh, we are, okay.
yes, we've come to 12C. We come to 12C, and that is Judy Barrett, Tim.
Right. Good evening, Governing Board, Superintendent Adams. Tonight, I'm bringing to you an update on our 25-26 budget. Here. This is our cyclical process, and by July 1st, we adopted our budget. And then the next update to you usually comes about 45 days after the budget is adopted, which is typically August, to provide any updates based on what happened between the May revise and the governor actually signing the budget. So legally, within 45 days, an update has to be brought to you. It's not a full revision like you see when I bring the interim reports to you, but the budget was signed on June 27th, which meant that 45 days was August 11th. We are in compliance because the information was posted as part of the board packet, and now the presentation is here for you today. Okay. There weren't a lot of changes to the budget, and some of this stuff you did see, and I did talk about at the May revise or what came out of the governor's budget, but some of these things were really unknown, so they were not put in our district budget. We were more conservative, that until we knew what was going to actually happen, that it wasn't included in as part of the projections. So the first item is the TK, the Transitional Kindergarten add-on to our LCFF, our local control funding formula. What was proposed in January was about $6,000 per ADA for TK. An increase add-on because of the change in staffing. So last year, our staffing had to be 12-1 within a TK classroom. It now got to the point in the TK rollout timeline where it went 10-1. So there's a requirement to have a lower staffing to child ratio. What did stay in the budget, excuse me, is the classrooms can have 24 students in them, which means there is the possibility for a third adult, because when you have the 4 additional kids, you have to still maintain the 10-1. So what did not happen was the class max at 20. It is 24, so it gives some flexibility to districts because you don't always get groups of TK students in 20s or 10s. So our current TK classrooms, and Dr. Jennings can correct me if I'm wrong, are roughly around that 20 average because we have enough of them. But should we need to go above 20, we would add an additional paraeducator into the room to assist with the additional students, which would actually bring the average down, adult to student ratio. Because of this, we will see just over $2,300 per TK ADA increase to offset the cost of the additional staff that we are required to have in those classrooms. Also, we talked about this before, and a lot of talk happened around the May revise about the governor's desire to have an additional one-time funding infusion. I know we keep saying, I keep bringing it to you, our one-time funding is ending, and then the state put a little bit more in the budget. But it was really iffy whether it would make it or not. So it did, and right now the projection is just under $315 per 24-25 ADA, which means the district could see just under $1.3 million in one-time money for one-time purposes. And so more information will come to you as it rolls out and it's certified. We were given an account code that tells us where to deposit it, so it's coming, whether or not it stays at this exact dollar amount. But it is intended as a one-time fix. It had some language around the financial impacts that the AB 218, which were the extension of the sexual molestation cases, where you could report, that this would help offset some of those costs for districts, but there's not a requirement that that is what you use it for, because not all districts have hefty cases, but some do, and it is quite an impact on the general fund. If you have a case that falls in a year that you did not have a large insurance carrier like we do now. So we will be discussing more and bringing more to you how it may or may not be spent. Yes.
Do you want me to ask questions, or you want to wait?
You sure, absolutely.
So-
Please interrupt me.
Just understanding discretionary, so that's really, the one-time funding is for us to use. Perhaps we could put it in our unrestricted budget?
No.
Okay.
This is restricted funding that we have discretion over, that we must keep on the restricted side, but we're not, there are suggestions of how the legislator would like us to use it. We as a district would need to put together a plan and present it to you on how we intend to. This will bridge the gap with one-time funding we have that is ending. We made some awesome reductions, but not quite enough, so it does kind of bridge for our one-time funding that we still needed to cover. But it does have a time frame on it, and I will always advise don't add things that eat to it, because then you have to make decisions related to that. But it is absolutely up to the board, and we will, Dr. Beatson and I and Dr. Jennings will be working with our current superintendent and our new superintendent to bring that plan to you.
So speaking of things that eat.
Yes.
So with the TK LCFF add-on increase, so you said it would, at 24, if a class is over the 20, correct, a third person would be added.
Has to be, yes.
Has to be added, and that is a designated person, or is that person able to be pulled out and go elsewhere?
Designated. At all times, you must be 10 to 1.
Okay,
And our auditors do come and they do check. They check how many kids we put in the room. And then they go over to our HR department and they say, how many adults did you have assigned there? And were they there? If they were out, was there a sub? Because there are hefty penalties if you violate the 24 in a class and the 10, this year now, 10 to 1 ratio. Yes. The last funding source on this slide is the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, which I'm sure you've been hearing about for years and years and years and years. If you remember, we were awarded money, and then at the end of the year that it closed in 22-23, the government took back some of the money. So this is a partial restoration of the take back to kind of give it back. So it is, of course, one-time money. And it will continue to help bridge the gap with our one-time items. One of the things for this, though, is this requires Ed Services, this requires Dr. Beatson to do a comprehensive assessment and then update the LCAP. So she's going to be paying attention what comes out of our Solano County Office of Education and what she must do to the plan before we could even touch the projected $119,000 we will receive.
I'm glad Dr. Beatson is on the job.
Yes. So she's very excited, and we will work closely together. There are a couple more funding changes that also happened. Some not as positive. Our Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, which you just saw Ms. Dudley present to you. So there was a change this year for the 25-26 budget year. There are 2 tiers of funding. Tier 1 used to be for districts that were 75% unduplicated, got a certain dollar amount, and everybody else got the Tier 2 amount. They changed Tier 1 to 55%. So as you can imagine, a lot more districts fall into that higher tier, meaning what's left for Tier 2 has to cover Tier 2. So what the language says, the intended rate was reduced from just over $2,000 to $1,575. However, there's not enough money to fund that. So right now the estimate is just over $1,200 per unduplicated. So the district is realizing an additional decrease of $135,000 to our ELOP program. Ms. Dudley and Dr. Beatson and I are working in concert to ensure that we are adequately spending this specific ELOP dollars in concert with our for-pay program that has similar services. So we're looking at all of our contracts, making sure that we're utilizing our staff the best that we can in the program. Lottery rates went down $1 per ADA. So we could lose around $4,300 depending upon if that lottery dollar sticks. So as more people play, more money comes to the district, but it in no way funds enough. And the legislature did their deferral maneuver again. So in June of 2026, just like June in 2025, the district must have all of expenditures. The district must pretend like it's getting the money in June, and the legislature has in the budget that it'll actually come to us in July. So what that means is the district is cash flowing the state longer. We will receive the money, but there is a delay. We are very fortunate in Solano County. We are able to have a constitutional advance, which you passed in May. So our taxes are sent to us up front, so we're able to better cash flow. But I will be really watching as we get to June, because that's really the end of our funding time frame. We did not have an impact for the deferral that happened in 24-25, so we should be fine. 25-26 too. It's not like years ago when it was February, March, and April they were deferring. So that's the changes in our revenue. I did want to update the district enrollment and ADA trends because we were very conservative at budget. And it was very intentional because what had been done is that our students, kindergarten through 12, they were cohorted up to the next grade level with our 12th grade class going out. We looked at our kindergarten trends, reviewed the Benicia birth rates, made, to the best of our knowledge, projections about TK, which have come in higher. And so that projection showed that we believed we would have 4,284 students to start this year. And we've been pleasantly surprised that, and also with that was the knowledge we had received that Vallejo may not approve IDAs in the same manner that they had. So we could not build those projections in and staff for that and wisely take care of the taxpayers' dollars if we weren't gonna have the students. So we were able to bring in more IDAs than we had expected last spring. And our kindergarten numbers, while still lower, are higher than we thought. And TK did come in 21 kids higher than we had projected, which is, as Superintendent Adams said, you know, we are very appreciative that our families trust us to bring their 4-year-olds. This graph I made for the packet on August 5th, so it had our enrollment that day, what looked like around 4,340, which was still lower than last year. As of today, the enrollment is slightly higher than last year, but our enrollment has declined from the first day of school till today, so over 3 days, 17 kids already. So we really need to see like the first 2 weeks. Are the students in our system with us? And we have had attendance around 4,250 today of the kids enrolled came to school, so about 96%.
Why is that like 17 students would unenroll in like the first 4 days of school? Or
Because they
what is
might
that?
have moved over the summer, we still have them in Aries. And they
Oh,
work. So
okay.
when someone's absent, we call every school, every family, and find out, were they sick or why are they absent? And they say, oh, we moved to
Okay.
Martinez, and so then we disenroll them. But, so that many, many come in and many go out during the summer, and we just find out about it now.
Got it.
And then some of them are still on vacation, and they just haven't realized that school's back. I mean, that happens as well. But the ones that are disenrolling are the ones that left the district, or perhaps they went to a private school. They chose a private school.
Okay, I thought students were physically sitting in the seats. And then,
No,
okay.
they're on our Aries.
Got it.
They're
Okay.
in our system.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll keep updating that. We have our office managers are daily putting in what everybody doesn't fondly refer to as the warm body count. It is what you do, but they're filling out spreadsheets. I'm summarizing it, sharing it with Cabinet. We're having conversations. We're watching it, making sure we know where all the students are and that we're staffed correctly.
I have a question on the gray line.
Yes.
Our funded ADA. So the last 3 years, well, no, 2 years,
Yes.
it's flat. Is
Well-
that because we're in a whole, isn't there like some formula that, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So if you see where 24-25 is, and it looks like 3 years, that's really 2, because one is the projection for 25-26, and one is 25-26. So the orange line is what, if there wasn't the protection built in, what we would be funded at. So it's very volatile. And would mean we would have significantly less funding. So what we do receive is the gray line, which is our current ADA, or the prior year ADA, or the prior 3 years, whichever is greater. So in 25-26, we're projecting that we'll receive ADA funding equal to prior year, last year, 24-25, because now that becomes the highest level of ADA that we have on record for our district. If we come in higher this year in 25-26, that's what the state will fund us on. And that all matters based on our attendance reports we submit. If it's, I mean, worst case, we're funded on last year, best case, we're funded on greater. So if our enrollment does stay as high as it is right now, unless the ADA causes it to be greater, we'll be funded on last year. Watching our enrollment really makes us realize what we have to have in the out years, and to better plan for the decline. And we do have a smaller kindergarten and first grade class. It's harder to see the decline because our secondary schools are the same. Our high school has a larger ninth grade class this year than we had thought. So it kind of covers it up, but as those kids, last year's kindergartens became first graders, they will eventually go through. And if the classes stay similar, we will have smaller schools overall. Now, we do know that there could be at some point the housing development that comes in that may bring kids with it. And then we update our projections. And that is one of the things where, I know we've talked about it before. I'll put a little plug in again just in case. But a demographic study might be really helpful to help us understand the transition between the birth rate and what actually comes in kindergarten. Because only the kids who are kindergartners now, their birth rate class, I guess if you want to call it that, was less than 200, but we have more than 200 kindergartners. Not all from Benicia, but more than the 190 that were born 5 years ago. So just to kind of see like what is different in our community now. That's just my little plug.
Yeah, no, I think
to consider.
I think it's something to consider. And also, I'm curious though, once that project gets underway, would we can the demographer kind of like factor that in as well? We need more information. We don't have all the information.
And we would have to engage and find who would be the best demographer to come in. I would look at someone different than the last time the study was done, and also have them look at, where our pockets of our kids are now, so that we know how to staff and create classes for our schools and what this housing development could. We will have to do a study that's then related to our developer fees that sets that tone, because that's a different projection to ensure you have enough facilities, but one that allows us to kind of more real-time know. Any more questions on where it looks like our trend is? All right, so just one more slide. We do have some next steps. The business office is actively closing out the 24-25 year. So right now the business office works in both worlds. It's very fun. We're closing it out. We will know where we ended with our reserves, and that report will come to you on September 18th. As I said, we are closely monitoring our enrollment. It's the only thing we talk about right now. And then looking forward to December, that's when you get your first official interim report about our 25-26 budget and how we're doing, where we're at, and how the multi-year is impacted by what's going on right now. Any questions? I did have an ask to talk about Prop 98. Do you still want to hear about Prop 98?
I'll just ask my question.
Okay, I want to make sure I address it.
So this Prop 98, so we got this pocket budget.
You did get this pocket budget.
And there's all these different tests for Prop 98, and it looks like this year there was less money, but is that because of the deferral?
No. So there are 3 tests within Prop 98. Test 1, 40% of the budget goes to schools. Test 2, same thing, but it takes into account inflation and growth in students. There's not student growth in the state right now. And test 3 is when the state's allowed to not fund what they're supposed to temporarily with an IOU. So for 25-26, we're in test 1. 40%, roughly 40%, I think it's like 39 point something % of the state budget is to go to education. And that's TK college. That's the education budget. There is, as you see the little red line on 24-25, the state withheld part of the funding for 24-25 because they want to make sure that all the taxes come in how they expected, because there were, because of the LA fires, you got longer to pay that. So they technically owe it to us, But they can do a settlement the next year, over the next 10 years, over the next 20 years. It's kind of like an IOU that they do have to pay, and it'll happen somehow. But what they don't want to repeat is a few years ago, if you remember, we all of a sudden got this extra 6.7% that came out to the districts, and it was great because we had so much money. And then the taxes they weren't actually realized. So they've been writing that problem over the years. And so to avoid that and not withdraw from the special rainy day fund, making sure that they can adequately fund based on what's promised. That's hopefully the short version of Prop 98. All right, were there any other questions that you had for me? No? Okay. You're welcome.
Again, thank you for your clarity.
You're welcome.
We are at item 13, action items. Consideration for approval of resolution number 25-26-02, the Benicia High Field CEQA Notice of Exemption. So, Ms. Egan, you're up.
Hi. So this next item is for our upcoming project for high school fields, for softball and baseball fields. Part of that process requires filing a CEQA. CEQA is California Environmental Quality Act, and so I've worked with legal, and they advised us that this project is exempt, which is good. The recommendation is for staff to approve, or for the board to approve staff to proceed with filing the CEQA as an exemption. The process is there is 30 days for public comment with any concerns, and after that we can still receive comments, but that's kind of the critical area. So filing this gets that started. So the great thing with being eligible for the exemption filing is that it's really minimal. There might be a CEQA fee. It is nominal. I don't know it off the top of my head. If you have to file and show that you had to take steps to remediate it, it can be very expensive and timely. So yeah, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's negligible. You're welcome.
What does exemption mean? Like, what do you mean by that?
It means that the project is not expected to be substantially impactful on the environment.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Are there any more questions? Can I have is there a motion on the table?
Yeah, I move that we approve resolution 25-26-02.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All right, this is a roll call vote. So President Grubbs? Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Seda? Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Manasi?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Egan, you're still up, so item 13B,
Great.
architectural contract.
This item is for requesting approval to award the contract to Hibster Yamachi Architects. This is for the Benicia Middle School kitchen expansion. This project has been identified on our master project list with the need for a very long time. It would expand the existing kitchen. It would completely renovate, new fixtures, and then also would relocate the garbage that's outside, right directly adjacent to the kitchen. And so I do want to clarify, there's an item in your agenda that says it doesn't exceed 10%, and it actually, depending on the cost and where it comes in, is about 12 to 15%. So I'm sorry that was miswritten, but it's still within the guidelines. Architectural fees usually range between 12 and 15%. The smaller a project, the higher they are in that range, because you have to do a baseline of work no matter what. And then larger projects, you get down nearer. So we've had a good working relationship with HY. They've taken care of our schools. They know our projects, and the recommendation is for approval.
I know I asked this when I first started on the board about RFPs, and I'm back at it. Have we considered doing RFPs or looking at other architectural firms to provide information and input?
Sure. So we have three architectural firms that we work with at present. One is SVA Architects. They're primarily working at Mary Farmer. The second one is California Design West. They are doing our field work at the high school and at the middle school. And then HY is providing a lot of support work. We do bring on new architects as there's a need, but the architectural selection is based on qualifications. It's not on pricing. And so even when you solicit, we can look at things like what was their average pricing, what are their hourly rates. We do interviews with other firms they've worked with. And generally, HY, we've been really pleased with them and feel that they bring a quality product. So sometimes bringing in new people, you're a comparison of quality, and it may or may not be beneficial to you. And not saying that it's not good to, you know, if I feel like we're not getting the support we need, I'll go to the next person in line and rotate through them. And sometimes it ebbs and flows with their staff, but they're very well staffed and they've given us very good support.
There was a reimbursable, I can't say that word, expense on the architectural,
So that
What's that for?
is primarily for, it used to be blueprint expenses, but now that's all digital. Now it's like when we have our community meetings that are for the planning. So those boards that get printed and their graphics, that's a reimbursable expense. They send those out to a print company, have them printed, and the bill goes to them and they bill us as an expense. Their reimbursable expenses that we receive are usually pretty minimal. Sometimes, well, for example, in this kitchen expansion, they're probably going to have to submit to the health department to get part of the permits. Sometimes when they do that, they pay the fee direct instead of waiting for the district PO and all the process just to be more timely. That could be a reimbursable expense.
I have a question for you. You know, we have our bond committee. What is their role with reviewing these? Do they review these types of projects or no?
No, their scope doesn't include, it's specifically in the bylaws, does not include selection of architects, doesn't include design criteria, does not include awarding the contracts to the contractor. That is specifically a district role.
Okay. And then other question is, I was wondering if the scope includes any equipment or updates and, oh, it does, it include new kitchen equipment and stuff?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
and then if I understand that right, that's the 1.2 to 1.5 total cost of, so that would include the equipment?
Yes, that's the construction cost.
With the equipment?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And then one more question, a kitchen consultant. That's, some of those were more expense than some of the engineers, so I'm curious what a kitchen consultant is.
So the codes in commercial kitchens are very specific, and also with the health department. So we would have an upfront meeting with Tanya and her team, review, like, here's a preliminary, which is pretty close to what you have in your packet, and the needs and how that would function, and get input and tweak that and upgrade it. Kitchen consultant, so they're gonna look at the exact equipment that's needed and help with that selection. There's code requirements for which equipment is required. They're gonna be helping with those selections, clearances around them. That'll be interlacing with the architectural work. If that particular number raises eyebrows, I can push back at HY and ask them to go check for quotes from other consultants, or if they have comparison, historically, has this person just been the ace in your pocket that takes care of everything, gets it done? Is there a reason? Because they can choose different consultants, so we can look at that if you'd like to.
If you think that it would make a difference in the budget, I mean, if it's gonna be a couple $100s, I don't think that's
Yeah, no,
a thing,
definitely.
but, if there's opportunity to save, thousands of dollars, I think that would be helpful.
Well, and with their contract proposal being on time and materials, if the board chooses to award this tonight, I can go have that conversation, and if they have something else, we can just change it, because their contract would still be valid, and that number, if I'm able to reduce it, would just get smaller.
Do they provide cost estimates, or somebody providing like, oh, we get to this phase in the project and oh my gosh, it's gonna be way more money and all of
Yeah.
that? How does that work?
We will, we do. We don't, so in the beginning, you don't have every single piece of equipment identified. You've got to go through the planning and the programming to really get all the details nailed down. Then you can get a cost estimate. You can say, we're going to be higher in budget than we thought we were, and what are ways we can dial this back so we get to where we want to be. So it's a process, and as it develops, you can keep checking. so you're not at a surprise at the end. As a district, we also consider that we want to do things the right way. We don't want to, well, we saved 10%, but you know what? We're using an old piece of equipment that looks awful, and here's a space halfway done. It's code compliant, but is that really the face and the appearance that we as a district want to have and want to bring to our finished products? So, yeah.
When is this, I know it's still in the working to figure out what you're gonna do, but when are we thinking that this project is gonna be done, worked on? I'm hoping it's during the summer so that it doesn't affect any food service to our children,
Yeah.
to our students.
So it's kind of early to give full details on that, but what I can say is that right now, what I'd like to do is to get the construction documents done and through DSA. We know that the high school PAB has to be bid pretty soon because we have a deadline for the completion date. We've got the fields, we've got some other stuff. So it's going to be a little bit of, okay, how much can we have in construction at once? And then here's the things that are already there. And then, so if we get this approved, then we do it as soon as we can, when we can. But it's a little bit of a balancing act with those priorities. And then we also have things like roofing, this is important too because Tanya's team, I know that they need it for their work there. So, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Can I have a motion,
I
please?
move that we approve the contract to Hibzer Yamuchi Architects.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? Are we doing it with the amendment of it being 12 to 15% like she did speak about, rather than the 10% that's listed?
Good point.
Yeah, that's a solid point.
Shall we
Good
do
catch.
that? Let's amend it. Is everybody on board with that?
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed. Thank you.
And we are up to 13C, and Ms. Rice, you are up.
All right. I'm not as tall. Good evening, Board, Cabinet, and the Benicia community. My name is Stephanie Rice, and I am Director of Education Services. And I am here tonight for your consideration and hopeful approval of the updated course outline for our AP Pre-Calculus course. Just to give you a little background, AP Pre-Calculus, as the course was approved last year, and our BHS math teachers, as they were working through it, decided that the CPM calculus textbook that is already adopted by the board, along with the College Board AP Pre-Calculus course and exam, would be a better fit than what they had previously written in the course outline, which was Advanced Mathematical Concepts, Pre-Calculus with Applications. And some of the reasoning behind that is we're preparing our students to, one, if they choose, take the AP exam and pass, but also be deep thinkers in mathematics. And with the AP Pre-Calculus coursework, the majority of the questions are done through multiple choice, since there are 40 questions that are multiple choice on that exam, with then 6 open-ended response. And the CPM curriculum really provides that open-ended response and more project-based learning. So the course is the same, it's just the text that they're choosing to use in that. And often when we have courses approved, we do the course and then we approve the curriculum. So we're bringing it back to you to approve, hopefully, the course outline as written for the AP Pre-Calculus course. Any questions? Yeah.
So we didn't, when you first brought this to us, were the textbooks that were recommended, were they purchased?
No. So they often look at the courses on the College Board, and they find similar courses and recommendations. And as they were looking into that curriculum, They found that the CPM pre-calculus coupled with the College Board AP course and exam would be more rigorous and a better fit for our kids. So that's where they are bringing that back to you. It's just kind of an update and transparency for what our courses are. And then BHS as well, they're going through all of their courses, looking at them, updating them as part of their PLC work that they're doing that we started at our PD day.
Just a quick question. Are any of these courses, I see next is chemistry, are any of these courses able to get college credit?
So if you pass the AP exam with a 3 or higher, you can get college credit. So by opening the door with the AP, the kids have the opportunity to do that, or they can choose to not take the exam.
Thank you.
I have a question. So I just recently learned that, and I didn't know this at the time that we passed AP pre-calc, I think it was in December. It was the meeting where there were a lot of different course changes in one action item, and it was a lot. So I wish I had seen this earlier. But with the introduction of AP pre-calc, it's my understanding that 11th graders who previously were in pre-calc honors, I'm sorry, let me start over. Before we made the change, 11th graders could take pre-calc honors, which then they could take the Calc AB test in the spring. And then as seniors, they could go into Calc BC or statistics or something. And with this change, we've kind of decoupled the pre-calc from the Calc AB. So now, if your student is taking integrated 1 in 8th grade, which is already an accelerated track, as a junior, you would take AP pre-calc, and then you could only take AB calc AP. So basically, they're not going to have the opportunity to take that BC class. That's right. I'm right? Going through it?
So if they, excuse me.
Yeah.
That is correct, unless they choose, which they can do, is take a course through like the junior college, which is free now. Some of our students would do that in the summer if they want to take that next
Yeah,
level.
that's what I was hoping, because I know that this might be a surprise to some families. And I just want to get information out there. If you have a student who wants that accelerated math pathway, what can you do to get that math? And then my other ask is, it sounds like the high school is looking globally at all of the classes. You know, I'm always concerned about eliminating the advanced classes, and I get worried about just lowering the ceiling. I want to raise the ceiling for everybody. And so I'd like, you know, maybe when the new superintendent starts, to take a look at that and make sure that we're offering enough accelerated opportunities for some of the students. That would be something I would really like to see. But if you could just educate us on what students who want to get to BC, or however far they want to go, what are their options?
So just to give you a little background too, so when students enter as 9th grade, the majority of our students take integrated 1, or they might choose integrated 1A, so that they would take integrated 1 over 2 years. Integrated 1 is a graduation requirement, as well as 2 years of mathematics. So they may then go into personal finance, or they would go into integrated 2. Some students come in taking integrated 1 in middle school, so they start in integrated 2. They can take personal finance or go into integrated 3, and then they can go into either now AP pre-calc or AP statistics. What you were talking about with our honors course, some of the struggles that the department unearthed as they were looking at the data was that our students that were taking, basically it was taking pre-calc in a half of a year and taking our AP AB course in a half of a year, which are recommended as year courses each. And then, like Ms. Hirsch said, they could take the AP exam. We were not seeing the pass rates as we were seeing for our kids that took it in a year. Also, as they were looking at rewriting course outlines and looking on College Board, there isn't a comparable class for that. So what that says is that's not recommended in the mathematics trajectory. And what's recommended is if a student is, like you're saying, accelerating, they could take either a course concurrent, so you can be enrolled in a junior college, which is free for your first 2 years, while you're in high school, or during the summer. So that's definitely an option we've had some students do. We actually had some middle school students take integrated 1 and then do integrated 2 through a JC, so they can come in as a freshman in integrated 3. So there are opportunities out there if that's what's right for that student.
That's helpful. I mean, I think my overall concern, I want to make sure our district stays competitive, and I should probably look and see what other districts are doing. I haven't done that background research, but you know, if this is the trend, this is the trend. I just want to make sure we're competitive and that all students are being challenged.
I hear you, 100%.
So that they all grow.
Any other questions?
Okay, so is there a motion? Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the updated course outline for AP Pre-Calculus.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Rice.
Thank you. All right, so for D, switching gears, this is also consideration and hopeful approval, but it's the adoption of an updated curriculum, and this is for high school chemistry. At our last board meeting, I brought several science curriculums to you. This one I shared would be coming at our next board meeting because the department wasn't done yet. But this is, again, curated curriculum from our science teachers. They've updated it to make it more relevant. It still is aligned with our NGSS standards. It is a lab course, and it's more accessible to all teachers. So our science teachers, our SPED teachers utilize it, and then new teachers coming in to be able to access the curated materials and see a scope and sequence, what the lessons are, the assessments, if you're able to view all that, and then leading into the summative assessments. So our high school science teachers recommend that you approve the adoption for this updated curriculum for our high school chemistry.
I just want to say that our science teachers did a terrific, phenomenal job on
Yes,
this
they did.
curriculum.
Thank you.
It is so clear, it is so organized, it's really well done. So thank you, Mr. Sinatz, Ms. Hudson, all of the science team who worked on this. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. I'll
Really
pass that
good.
on to
I
them,
would
too.
love to
Yes.
see this all the time. This is great, A+.
Yes, I agree.
I'll make a motion.
One question, if that's okay. I know I asked you last time, but I just want to confirm that with the upgraded curriculum, our physical space is still able to accommodate what our updated curriculum is asking.
Yes, absolutely. I actually went and reached out to our science teachers, and yes, I mean, in an ideal world, if we had all the money, yes, they said we'd love 2 classrooms, one for our lab and one for our class space. But that isn't the world that we're living in right now. So our science classrooms, if you've been in them, have lab space. They also have seats that kids don't have to sit at labs the whole time, you know, for the lecture piece. And they have all of the essential equipment and safety materials.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. I will make a motion that we approve the adoption of the updated curriculum for high school chemistry.
I'll second.
Thank you.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll be marking trustee Maselli not present.
Okay, and 13E, moving on.
Okay. Yes, sorry, thank you. Switching back to course outlines, this is for your consideration and approval of the updated course outline for Spanish 1. Again, this course outline was updated because we adopted an updated curriculum for our world language Spanish courses, Senderos, and so they went back and they reworked the outline so it reflects the units that they will be actually using. They broke it down by unit topic, the grammar structures and match that with the world language standards as you saw. So our high school Spanish department recommends that we move forward with this updated course outline so it actually reflects the units that they're teaching. Any questions for Spanish 1?
I'll move that we approve the adoption of updated Spanish 1 course outline.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I will be marking trustee Maselli not present.
Okay, 13F.
So this is your consideration approval of the updated course outline now for Spanish 2. It is the same curriculum, but the next level, Senderos 2, same thing. This just reflects the units that they'll be studying, and it's outlined how it's matched to the world language standards. Any questions?
I move that we approve the adoption of the updated course outline for Spanish 2.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I will be marking trustee Maselli not present.
And
Thank you.
Spanish 3.
Spanish 3, same thing. Consideration and approval for the updated course outline for Spanish 3. Same curriculum, Senderos, but it's level 3. And again, it's just to really represent actually what they're teaching. Any questions for Spanish 3?
All right, since I did all the other Spanish ones, I'm going to keep going. I move that we approve the updated course outline for Spanish 3.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye. And we're off to 13H.
Last
AP
one from me.
Okay.
This one is a little bit different. It's a consideration for approval of it's a new course outline for AP Spanish Language and Culture because we didn't have a course outline, so we're bringing that forward. This curriculum is Tomas, which you guys approved before, AP Spanish and Culture. What you'll notice in this course outline is that it is intermediate to advanced. All language is spoken only in Spanish in this course. They do conversational Spanish, write emails in Spanish, argumentative essays, argumentative speech. It's all highlighted, and if you were able to read Spanish, you were able to see the concepts on there as they were highlighting that this is a Spanish focus only course to really bring them into being fluent Spanish speakers.
All right. Oh,
Sorry, that's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
So I think that that's really awesome. When the title says culture, do they get to, they do,
Mm-hmm.
a cultural project?
Yes.
Okay, that's really great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, moving along with the,
Motion?
I move that we approve the course outline for AP Spanish Language and Culture.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh.
Thank you. I'm
You
done.
get to go now. And now Dr. Jennings is up for the rest of the evening. Welcome on.
Well, thank you. Good evening, President Grubbs, Board Trustees, Superintendent Adams, and the Benicia community. The item before you for your consideration and approval is the updated certificated substitute pay schedule for the 2025-2026 school year. You might have noticed the removal of the language regarding the reversion back to the 2020-2021 substitute pay schedule at the conclusion of the year. Ever since COVID, that language has been on there. However, after a review of comparable districts, we recognize that it's no longer, that we would revert back to the 2020-2021 school year's pay rate. And so the schedule, that language was removed.
I was so happy to see that. I really was. Is there any questions or discussion?
I just have a quick, did we have long-term subs at some of our schools? Where they were there, like designated for X site?
Last year, we had a practice of designated subs, so each site, depending on the size, had 1 to 2 subs that were dedicated every single day. They would come, and if there was a need, if there was someone out that was unexpected, they would cover those classrooms. We shifted to this year to not have that practice, and where if a teacher puts in an absence, then a sub picks up that job or is assigned that job. And it's, part of it is just recognizing post-COVID that we no longer need to prepare for those occasions where people are going to be out unexpectedly. And also, our sub pool has greatly increased, and so we know that we're able to get subs even the morning of.
That's great. Thank you.
That's good to hear. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll move that we approve the certificated substitute pay schedule for the 2025-26 year.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, thank you.
And 13J, you're still up. You're up for the rest of the night, Dr.
This is the consideration and approval of the variable term waiver request for a certificate of completion staff development. And this is needed for a currently employed teacher to meet the English learner credential requirements while she's completing her clear credential.
Any questions, motions?
I move that we approve the variable term waiver request for the certificate of completion staff development.
I'll second.
You go ahead.
We're slow.
Annie will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, thank you.
And 13K.
So the item before was for a certificated teacher. This is for a certificated administrator. So again, it's a variable term waiver for an administrative services credential. This administrator should be getting her, it's like a temporary waiver, but she should be able to have her credential by the end of August. But we have to do this in order to ensure that the county approves her employment.
Okay, any questions? Any motions?
I'll move that we approve the variable term waiver for the administrative services credential.
I'll second.
Who's seconding?
Let our president do.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, thank you.
The next two items are memorandums of understanding. The first one is with National University, and this is for clinical field placements for interns and student teachers.
Is there a cost for this internship to BUSD?
There is not a cost for us for the internship. Typically, when we hire a teacher who's still working on earning their preliminary credential, we have to have these, agreements with the universities to ensure that we have certain responsibilities that we do have, just making sure that we understand that, and then they have their responsibilities.
Okay, I just noticed it was a paid internship, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't coming from BUSD.
It means that they're in paid status as an intern teacher with us, so they're hired as a fully employed teacher. There are times when it's just a student teaching placement where they're not getting paid, it's unpaid. In this case, this is specifically for when they're hired as a district employee.
Okay.
Yeah, good question, though.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the MOU with National University.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, thank you.
And Dr. Jennings.
And this last item, again, is an MOU with Thoreau University. This will be the last time you will see a MOU with Thoreau's School of Education, because they're closing as of December. Their School of Education, so they still have their medical school. And so we still have a few teachers who are finishing up their credential. They are on track and scheduled to end by December. So this will be the last time that you have an agreement with, for Thoreau.
And this goes to the same comment you made about national.
Yes, and these are intern teachers. Typically, they're in their last semester of work.
I move that we approve the MOU with Thoreau University.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed, thank you.
So that comes to the end of our meeting. Our next regular scheduled meeting will be Thursday, September 4th, 2025. And we will see everyone. Have a wonderful school year, and good night, all.